discussing the disciples. What color were they?
I don't think we know that for certain.
But they were Hebrews, were they not?
That's right.
Was Jesus. Jesus was also a Hebrew.
Why don't you just ask your question?
What color were the original Hebrews?
I have told you that we don't know that for certain.
Then you can't believe for certain that Jesus was white.
Just a moment. God is white. Isn't it obvious?
Had hair like wool and feet the color of brass.
Just what are you saying?
I'm not saying anything. I'm proving to you that Jesus was not.
Every type of stupid to believe that Jesus of Nazareth, Christ the King, was a black African Nubian man, a sub-Saharan African man. Let's go back to 10,000 BCE. Anatolian farmer DNA. Here's the modern distribution, but Anatolian farmer DNA is coming from Anatolia here, but it was also in the Levant. If you're completely lacking any anthropological evidence or genetic research, and you just go on dogma from the internet, then sure, you could claim that anybody at all times was black.
Why don't white people tell the truth? Wait a minute, Caucasians, don't get angry. Don't get angry, white people. Please don't get angry. But listen, white people. If you're a Christian and you believe that Christ is coming again, and he is, when he returns, how are you going to handle it if he comes back and he's black?
You're an embarrassment to your white ancestors. Jesus would be disappointed. I'm going to hold your hand when I say this, okay? I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. Jesus isn't from Texas. Jesus was not white. Peace be upon him. Jesus was brown.
What I want to show you here is that they worship us behind closed doors. The power behind all of this is you. Nobody else. Just watch. Whoa.
Hello brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you are doing great from whatever you're watching this video from. And as you know, I'm your host and presenter Talk Stories. And I just want us to have a chat a little bit about a given concept. Because for the longest time, this has been a question of discussion. You might ask yourself, why do you think it's difficult for white people to accept that Jesus was a black person? Why do you think that it was okay for them? There were no problems and Jesus was a white person. But when the truth came out, when people starting to see the truth, it now became a problem. And they started to deflect. They started to shift the idea that the color of Jesus doesn't matter. Well, I think the color of Jesus mattered for them. That's why for the longest time, people were indoctrinated. People were made to believe that the color of Jesus was a white man's. And all of us believed in the lie. And this also reveals the broader Eurocentric features or Eurocentric beliefs that we have learned. It is so sad that until today, as Africans, some of us, our parents, our great-grandparents, some of them died knowing that Jesus is a white person. But hey, thanks to independent churches in Africa that saw to it that no, there is no way Jesus was a white person. Because now they started teaching all this theological information, all these theological truths in an African perspective. And this gave them a belief, this gave them the idea that something is wrong with this person that is being portrayed as Jesus. So you realize that for white people, the color of Jesus was white, and that was something that was universally accepted. But as time went by, it became so much difficult for them to accept. It became so much difficult for them to believe that the color of Jesus was black. So when the truth came out, because they have tried for a long time to hide the truth, they have tried for a long time to hide the following truths from black people. And the truth is, there are a couple of truths that were hidden in the Bible. There are a couple of truths that they don't want people to know, including the color of Jesus, including how black people are portrayed in the Bible. The following are just many of lies that people have been told in regards to this. And so, brothers and sisters, as you watch this video, I'm here as your host and presenter Ejidok Stories. And today's video, I want to break down why I think it is so much difficult for white people to accept black Jesus. The reasons that I'm going to be giving are scholarly researched, and I'm not just making this up. This backed up research that I've done, and I'm ready to present it to you so that we can all learn. But until then, I want us to watch this video. My commentary will, the reasons as to why, and I'm giving 7 reasons as to why I think it is so much hard for white people to accept black Jesus, even though they know it's the truth. So stay tuned. Don't move anywhere. Let's watch the video. Let's learn. And then I'll be back. I'll be sharing my thoughts in regards to this.
My guy, first of all, you trying to call us stupid from reading from the Bible and going off based what the scriptures are saying. Not even just what the scriptures are saying, what history is even saying. So you gonna tell me that the Messiah is not of a black man when the Bible literally says that the color of his feet was the color of burnt brass that was burnt in a furnace? First of all, brass is already a black person. Let's be for real. And now burnt brass? Baby, not only was the Messiah a black man, he was a black man. Like, y'all gotta be for real. Y'all steady keep saying the Messiah is an olive skin color, an olive tone skin color. What the heck is an olive skin color? Because based off the scriptures, baby, you keep talking about an olive skin color. Well, I only know 2 olives, the green olive and the black olive. And based off the scriptures, the Messiah is the black olive. Based off the scriptures, the Messiah is the black olive. And I'm just being for real. I'm just being for real. Y'all keep talking about, it's not talking about woolly hair in the Bible. So it's going to say that the Messiah's hair is white as wool, as white as snow. It's already telling you the color. It says white and white as snow. So why add wool in there? That's because it's talking about the texture of the Messiah's hair. And everybody know woolly hair is of a black person. Like, come on, y'all gotta be for real. Y'all gotta be for real. If you scared to worship a black man, just say that. Hey, it's easier to do that than to lie on the scriptures. It's easier to just say you don't want to worship a black Messiah or a black God. Just say that. Please just say that. I promise you, it's way easier. It's way easier, bro. Because you can't fight facts with your feelings, dog. And even when I commented on your video, you couldn't even come back with actual facts. Back then, you could try to talk about was my followers and views. Like, that's the worst thing you can do to me, because my literal slogan is literally facts over feelings. So you can't argue with my facts with your feelings. Like, it doesn't make sense. You keep doing all this stuff talking about he's Middle Eastern. Look at the Middle Eastern people here now. I don't care how the Middle Eastern people look here now. Everybody know back then the Middle East was called Northeast Africa. The Middle East is literally Northeast Africa. Come on. You mean to tell me they hit a pale skinned person in Africa? How you gonna hide a pale skinned white person or even an even tone person in Africa full of dark black people? They could not have hit the Messiah in Africa during those times if he was pale skinned in any type of way. He wasn't pale skinned in any type of way. Like, come on. And you trying to be funny with saying, if you look on the Wikipedia and all this stuff, then you will see that. I mean, you can use back then that everybody was black. That's because back then, everybody was black. Come on, science even tell you that the pale pigmentation is a mutation that happened throughout the years. Like, be for real. Everybody on every single part of this land, anywhere in the world, was all of dark-skinned people. There was no pale people on the land at those times. Like, y'all gotta stop. Y'all gotta stop. Like, if you don't want to worship a black man, just say that. If you don't want to worship a black man, just say that. I promise you, it's way easier. It's way easier. If you don't want to worship a black man, it's easier to say that than to lie on the scriptures. Because everything goes against what you're saying. History goes against what you're saying. The scriptures go against what you're saying. Like, even your emotions is going against what you're saying. Because you have no facts. You just going off of just crying. For what, dog? For what? You trying so hard to prove something that you can't even prove yourself. Like, just stop. It don't even get that deep. It don't even get that deep. And a lot of y'all gonna say, skin color don't matter. If it didn't matter, why they change it? If it didn't matter, why they change it? That's because the truth matters. Because once you find out the truth about the Messiah, you'll find out the truth about who the real Jews are. Y'all don't want to know that. So, like, at the end of the day, like, you getting so mad at the people in your comments and all that stuff because you can't prove what you're trying to say yourself. Come on, everything goes against what you're saying. History, artifacts, the Bible itself. Y'all just gonna keep trying to come up with something to disprove the facts. And I don't know why. Well, I do know why. Y'all just don't want to worship a black man. And I understand. Y'all was taught all these years for generations and generations that y'all were superior. I understand. So it hurts to know that you're worshiping a black person. I understand. Your feelings hurt. But it's okay. We all gonna live through it. We didn't care when we was worshiping a white man this whole time based off your lies. So you don't care. I mean, remember, skin color don't matter. That's what y'all say. Skin color don't matter. So let's not make it matter. Go on about your day. Because at the end of the day, we gonna believe in Romans 3 and 4. Let God be the truth and every man a liar. And one thing I'm gonna tell you is let the truth set you free.
You guys believe in the classically accepted appearance of Jesus Christ?
No, Jesus did not have blonde hair and blue eyes. He was not a Westerner. He was a Jew. Obviously, there's been a boatload of racism that has been justified in the name of Christianity. Prejudice against Arab people, against African Americans. There's been a bunch of anti-Semitism in the name of Christianity. It's sick. It's sad. Jesus does not come for one race. He comes for the world. He loves every single one of us.
I don't know why everybody is all of a sudden confessing their sins and wrongdoings, but do y'all see the people over in Jerusalem, those priests who are literally worshiping and kissing the slab of where Jesus was crucified, and they have this picture of Jesus that they are literally worshiping and doing all this prayer with, and the damn picture is black, honey. And then I'm looking and they got another festival that's going on in Jerusalem where they are also worshiping a black Jesus. The only people who are still fucking around is the goddamn Vatican, where the Pope is sitting up there with a picture of white Jesus on his shirt, but even still he look a little Middle Eastern. I'm about to show y'all, but my point is, if the world is finna end and y'all think black people is finna save y'all, we not finna save y'all. I find it suspicious. I find it very weird that after Putin comes out and he's like, hey y'all, we got this vote, these people, yeah, after he basically showed us they were stealing and hiding artifacts, whatever, now everybody want to worship black images of Christ and Israelites. I have never seen the people who be talking about we are the real Jews. I have never seen them on the podcast. Why are they all of a sudden now on the podcast? And I've been getting so much fucking backlash. Oh my God, you wouldn't believe the amount of people telling me that the color of Christ don't matter. This is a holy ceremony in Jerusalem. That is the slab where Jesus Christ was crucified. They have that. Look at that picture. What color does Jesus look like to y'all? Because he damn sure don't look like the Michelangelo Machiavelli white person I've been seeing. And please, y'all, please, because this is blowing my mind. Something is up. Something is up. I honestly believe that we are like the age of Aquarius, bro. Everything is being exposed, and the fact that it took for another country to say, hey, Y'all lying to these people. These people are different. I don't know. Is black people the only people who can fight the evil? I don't know, but it's a little late to try to get on our good side. And for all of y'all who's saying it don't matter, it matters. It fucking matters. Especially how I grew up being called the N-word daily, shoved into lockers, had to sue my high school to graduate. White people mess with me so bad. And I still love them. I love everybody, no matter what the skin color is. But at this moment right now, for people to be trying to come forward with biblically correct information after...
Why don't white people tell the truth? Wait a minute, Caucasians, don't get angry. Don't get angry, white people. Please don't get angry. But listen, white people. If you're a Christian and you believe that Christ is coming again, and he is, when he returns, how are you going to handle it if he comes back and he's black? Face that. Check that out. Think about that. Just think about it. Well, I ought to ask the preachers in the house, how you going to handle it? Because there's some preachers who would say, what? You's an imposter. We've been waiting 2,000 years to get tricked like this? Some preachers would think just like that. Now, I just want you to consider this. The scripture said he had hair like lamb's wool. Stop right there. We ain't got to go too much further. If he had hair like lamb's wool, there's some white people who got some frizzy hair. But let's go a step further. In the book of Daniel, Daniel is talking. He said, I beheld till the thrones were cast down, meaning all the rulers sit down, and the Ancient of Days did sit. He had hair like lamb's wool. He had feet like burnished brass. He had eyes like flaming coals. He ain't talking about a white man now. He's talking about a black man coming into power again. See, and those of you who can't take wisdom coming from a black man, you better check out now.
My friend, that is completely false. And I'm happy that you're even asking the question, so you'll know. God the Father is a spirit. He doesn't have a race. When Jesus came down, God in the flesh, he came as a man, and he came as a Jewish man. He didn't come as an African. He didn't come as a European. He came as a Jew. And he's still a Jew till this day. Now, the skin colors of the Jew at that time were similar to like a golden, kind of like this. But they were not black as an African black. Even when you take a look at furnace bronze, it takes on this color right here. This is like furnace brass bronze. So imagine that glowing. That's how John described Jesus in the book of Revelation. God's favorites aren't from a particular skin color. God favored Israel, and they do have a specific favor, but this is the thing. Though some Jews are black, not all blacks are Jews. When they were scattered in 70 AD, when General Titus came into Jerusalem, destroyed the temple, some went to Africa, some went to...
Because everybody's not welcome to our church. There's a certain element of people that just aren't welcome. I make a joke sometimes, but it's a joke based upon, I think, a real fact. The image always showed Jesus Christ with arms outstretched, wide out, like everybody. But the reality is Jesus Christ is not wide arms stretched. His arms are, what he said, the pathway is straight and narrow. And so it's a straight and narrow pathway.
Black man, can they be saved and then be part of the kingdom of God?
What does saved mean?
I mean, if we're going to go off of a traditional theological practice, it is understanding Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, a traditional Christian perspective, that means then you gain access to heaven.
Yeah. Well, I like the word redeemed better than saved.
This video is brought to you by Melanin Particle. Thank you, Melanin Particle. What I want to show you here is that they worship us behind closed doors. The power behind all of this is you. Nobody else. Just watch. Tell me something I don't know. Whoa. Thank you.
When you read the Bible that God is black, Christ is black and his people are black. Why the Christian pastors not preaching this?
Hello brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you are doing great from wherever you're watching this video from. As you know, I'm your host and presenter Agent Stories. Welcome back and let's have a chat, let's have a discussion regards to this. Now, there are several reasons as to why it becomes so much difficult for white people to accept black Jesus, even though they know that this is the truth. First, I'm going to talk about cultural familiarity and enculturation. Let me explain. Many white Christians grew up with church at Sunday school materials, family Bibles, and media showing Jesus as looking like them or their European ancestors. So changing that image feels like losing a personal, relatable connection to faith. People naturally prefer depiction that reflect their own culture. Jesus looks like us. Making a Middle Eastern Jewish Jesus feel distant or other becomes problematic to them. And understand, and I think the same reason applies to how they made Africans, how they made like generally black people, how they made black people believe that something black is not great and something white is great. And you are getting to see how color and the perception in the Bible was used to brainwash people, to also lie to white people themselves. Because majority of, and I think everyone, including white people, especially when you grew up in a Catholic setup. For example, for me, I learned in a Catholic school. So every time, including dawn masses, every time we used to go to church, we will see those images of Jesus, of Mary, of Joseph, of name all those people, the angels and everyone. They were perceived to be white. This is our childhood. This is the image that we grew watching. So when Christmas was closer, there was this program. I don't know if it happens in the US or something. There was this program that was being presented, and all we saw a white Jesus. As kids, we used to watch these Jesus movies and even cry, not knowing that the perception that they were giving us was something which was wrong. The second reason as to why it is so hard for white people to accept black Jesus is deep-rooted tradition and habit. Understand that the white Jesus image became standardized through centuries of European art. Renaissance painters like Da Vinci or Michelangelo modeled him after locals, and mass-produced items like Warner Salmon's Head of Christ reproduced hundreds of millions of times. It's embedded in stained glass, hymns, movies, holidays. Abandoning it requires rethinking lifelong visual habits and family church heritage. So, this is something which is deep-rooted. The image and everything that we saw, the perception, everything that we believed to be the image of Jesus Christ. Because Yeshua, the one that we know right now, is not the one that was being shown in the media or produced in the media, because this was massively produced, and people thought that that was the truth about everything that was being showed. The third reason is association with identity and superiority narratives. Now, for some, why Jesus subtly reinforced the idea that whiteness is closer to divinity or goodness. If Jesus is white, then white people are made more in God's image. Shifting to a brown-skinned Semitic Jesus can challenge implicit assumptions about racial hierarchy that developed alongside colonialism, slavery, and Jim Crow era Christianity in the West. So in short, generally, what this document is trying to say, it's trying to say that white people generally are going through what is called cognitive dissonance. And it is so hard for them to change that. And it is so hard for them to accept something different, something new. Because now they're feeling that this is so much nuance. It's not something that they used to see while they believed, and the relatability that they had. And that's why Satan was perceived to be black and God was perceived to be white. We all know how all this goes and how we all got played into all this. Now, the fourth reason is fear of woke or politicized change. Now, in polarized times, calls to decolonize or remove white Jesus image during the 2020 protest are often viewed as attacks on Christianity itself or as leftist cultural revisionism. Some white Christs see it as erasing Western heritage rather than correcting historical inaccuracy, leading to defensive attachment. Doesn't that make sense? It makes sense. You ask yourself this question: why do Christianity feels attacked when now people start to question the following truths? Things that people should be talking about, right? The fifth reason is theological emphasis on universality over ethnicity. Now, many argue that Jesus' physical appearance doesn't matter. He is God incarnate for all humanity, not defined by race. Instead, insisting on a historical accurate Middle Eastern look can feel like reducing the divine to ethnic politics, distracting from core gospel messages of salvation, grace, and unity beyond skin color. But the biggest question is, okay, right, you might argue that way, but why did it matter when Jesus was white? But now when the truth comes out that Jesus is a black person, it now matters, and now it will interfere with the divine belief that people had. It will interfere with gospel. Really, let me know. The sixth reason is emotional and psychological investment. Now, the image has provided comfort, unity, and inspiration during the tough periods in white American history. That's post-Civil War, immigration waves, etc., etc. Now, admitting it is largely ahistorical, Jesus was the first century Galilean Jew, likely with olive brown skin, dark eye, hairs, can feel like a loss of sacred comfort or an accusation of past complicity in using faith for racial messaging. That's cognitive dissonance generally. They're not ready to let go. They're not ready to accept the truth, right? And the seventh reason is resistance to historical reckoning. Understand that accepting a non-white Jesus requires acknowledging how European colonialism, missionary work, and art deliberately whitened him, aligned with empire building and justified dominance over non-European people. So for some, this feels like guilt tripping or rewriting Christian history to fit modern racial narratives, rather than focusing on faith's transcendent truth. So brothers and sisters, please let me know what you feel about this presentation and what you feel about the whole idea and the whole truth. And as you know, I'm your host and presenter Generic Stories. But until then, let me see you in my next video. Peace. love, and harmony. Salute.